They branded my class a curse. My mentor called it a mistake from the gods. The kingdom that raised me signed the order themselves, not execution, something crueler. They opened a gate to the hollow frontier and pushed me through it. But the moment the gate sealed behind me, a voice I'd never heard spoke inside my skull. Class restriction lifted. Sovereign Warlord protocol active. They thought they were throwing away a broken tool. They were arming their own executioner. My name is Kaelin Voss. This is how I built a nation out of nothing but ash and spite. I was 11 when the Kingdom of Serenholt pulled me out of my world. One second, I was walking home in the rain with wet shoes and a half-eaten sandwich in my bag. The next, I was on my knees inside a summoning circle carved into obsidian, surrounded by priests who looked disappointed before I'd even said a word. Serenholt summoned Outworlders for one reason: the Hollow Wars. Every generation, rifts tore open along the western frontier and vomited out monsters that didn't behave like anything native to this world. Creatures with no fear, no hunger, only the drive to kill and multiply. Ordinary soldiers died by the thousand. The kingdom needed weapons. Outworlders, it turned out, could awaken classes no one born here ever could. So they summoned 20 of us that year. 19 of them awakened something useful: Blade Saints, Stormcasters, Beast Tamers. Nobles fought over who would sponsor them. I awakened Warlord, Sovereign class, sealed. No spells, no weapon mastery, no combat stat above baseline human. Just a single line under my status screen that nobody could explain. Authority requires territory. No territory detected. All functions locked. The court physician called it a joke from a bored god. My combat instructor, a scarred old soldier named Doran Fex, was the only one who didn't laugh. He just watched me for a long time and said, "That's not a broken class, boy. That's a loaded weapon with the safety on. Somebody's going to regret pulling that trigger eventually." Nobody believed him. For 6 years, I trained anyway. Not because I had power, but because understanding was the only weapon they couldn't confiscate. I studied supply lines while the other candidates trained their spells. I learned how armies actually died, not from enemy blades, but from bad water, late rations, and officers who'd never once walked the line they commanded. I fixed a grain shortage at 15. I redesigned a garrison's drainage at 16 and stopped a fever outbreak that had already killed 30 men. They started calling me the Quartermaster Prince. Not a title, an insult, dressed up to sound clever. Then, 3 months before my 18th birthday, Prince Ardern, the crown's actual heir, and a boy who'd hated me since the day I outplanned him in a war exercise, found his opportunity. A grain convoy bound for the frontier vanished. Ardern's men discovered forged documents in my quarters. Suddenly, the boy with a sealed, worthless class had a motive: sell out the kingdom's supply lines to the demon courts beyond the hollow frontier. Nobody in that tribunal cared that the numbers didn't add up. Nobody cared that I'd spent 6 years feeding their soldiers instead of stabbing anyone. The king needed a quiet scandal buried, and I was disposable enough to bury it under. They didn't execute me. Execution creates martyrs. Exile through the hollow gate was cleaner, the same as a death sentence, just one where nobody had to hold the knife. Doran Fex was the only one who came to the gate. He didn't apologize. He just gripped my shoulder and said one thing: "Whatever's locked inside you, go find the key." The hollow frontier was exactly what the reports promised: dead gray plains, skeletal trees, and a horizon that never quite looked stable, like reality itself was still deciding whether to hold together out here. I had a knife, a canteen, and 6 years of knowledge nobody thought was worth anything.